Well, here's something to think about. On average, 21 cars are stolen in Utah every single day.
That's thousands a year. Mike?
You're right, and the problem's only getting worse here. So the KSL investigators went digging, trying to track down the thieves and find out why it's become a growing issue. Are there more people trying to steal cars, or is the justice system going easy on them and allowing these crooks to do it again and again?
Cops tried to find fingerprints.
Our story begins with two different interviews.
This side of it. Sheila Bunn, Sheila
Johnny, Jonny Johnson, Johnsson.
From two different people.
I just was in shock.
The craziest emotional day ever. It's just frustrating.
Telling two different stories.
Don't see any reason why they would want my parents' ashes.
I was really upset that someone would take my property that I worked hard for.
With one common thread.
I came back out, my car was gone.
Yeah, I knew my car was gone.
Now for Sheila, it was this 1987 Toyota 4Runner, and for Johnny, a brand new Audi A7. Now, Johnny wasn't overly concerned about the $7,500 worth of electronics inside.
Why would you do this? What's the point, you know?
He just wanted his car back. And on the flip side, Sheila didn't really care about the car.
I really want my parents back.
She just wanted the urn sitting in the back seat with her parents' ashes inside.
We've lost them once. It seems like I'm losing them again.
Unfortunately, Sheila and Johnny are just a couple of statistics in a growing problem here in Utah. Since 2010, the state has seen a 46% increase in auto thefts. In Salt Lake City, it's become even worse.
And a lot of these people,
the obvious question is why.
They know the game. This isn't the first time they've done this rodeo.
Detective Robert Ungricht has spent nearly 10 years in Salt Lake City's auto theft unit and says repeat offenders are becoming a repeat problem. Steal a car, get caught, but the prosecution can get tricky.
A lot of them are very well versed and know the system well enough to know what to say and what not to say.
And what they say in many cases,
we do get lied to every day, and that's
is either they didn't know it was stolen or they're just borrowing it from a friend. The challenge is proving they did it. And if there's no clear-cut evidence, they often plead to a lesser crime or they get off altogether. Case in point, the man behind the wheel of this stolen car is 20-year-old Dallas Choate. Dash cam showing the destructive and life-threatening scene as he crashes his way out of traffic, trying to escape police earlier this year. Now, before that, another incident involving another stolen car, again with Choate in the driver's seat, this time striking a parole officer with the front end of the vehicle. And even before that, his first case of car theft, where Choate pled down to lesser charges. In a year and a half, court records show Choate accused of stealing 5 different vehicles, serving only 7 months behind bars.
This is a person who had multiple felonies before it rose to that level of saying that we were going to actually take this person out of the community.
In short, Salt Lake District Attorney Sim Gill says many of these car thieves are not getting enough jail time. According to the law, auto theft is a property crime, meaning it's not necessarily violent. And even though it carries a sentence of up to 15 years in prison, Gill says rarely does anyone get anything close to that, even repeat offenders.
There has been a concerted effort by adult probation and parole, and certainly within our court system, to not send these folks to prison.
Instead, Gill says lawmakers have pushed for criminal justice reform, in essence, ordering more parole and treatment instead of time behind bars. A great idea, he says, but it's not working, and it's putting lives in danger.
But with some individual, our best chance is incapacitation, because I just need to remove him from society to slow him down.
But in order to put the offenders in prison, you got to catch them first, and that's a big problem. Clearance rate for stolen cars here in Utah is hovering around 7%, which means for every 100 cars stolen, only 7 people are arrested, charged, or taken into custody. So, with a bait car wired and equipped to get stolen, the KSL investigators made an attempt to find one of those 7 and catch a car thief. We did what many people do throughout the cold months, leaving keys in the ignition, car running, and unoccupied to warm up. For days, we moved the vehicle to different car theft hotspots across the Salt Lake Valley. And while it sometimes appeared people were interested, not one single bite. But a few months later, we finally caught a guy trying to sell a truck through the classifieds.
It's him.
He had reportedly stolen.
You didn't steal a watch? Are you sure?
The thief, Samuel Bates pled guilty to a second-degree felony, sentenced 1 to 15 years in prison. The reality, his prison term suspended, served 83 days in jail, and was released on probation.
It's frustrating for us because our officers and detectives put a lot of time into these cases, and I know that it's frustrating for our officers when they're continually pulling the same people out of cars.
It turns your life upside down, doesn't it?
As for Sheila and Johnny,
They found your car. They found your car.
turns out his $70,000 Audi was found just a couple of blocks away. And while it may have been missing that new car smell,
Yeah, they definitely smoked weed in there. I mean, no question.
everything else was intact. And police also found Sheila's 4Runner on the opposite side of the Salt Lake Valley.
It's been really tough with my dad and now my mom, and we were just hoping this was going to be a lot better year.
The car, now a consolation gift. The prize was the urn and her parents' ashes found in the back seat, untouched.
Now, to be clear here, when we set the bait car out, it was equipped with a kill switch, meaning if somebody had gotten in to steal it, the engine would shut down as soon as they put that into gear, making certain that they could not drive off and put anyone out there in danger. So here's a question. What can you do to lessen the chances of getting your car stolen? It's not rocket science here, my friends. Don't leave your keys in the car, even if you think you are being clever and maybe have them hidden in the glove compartment. Lock your doors, that's another one, and do not leave your car running and walk into the house while it's warming up as we hit these cold months. A lot more people do that, and that's what we found as we left that bait car out there. We weren't the only ones who had our car on. I mean, you look around and there's probably half a dozen other ones in some of these parking lots of people doing the very same thing. So a lot of these crooks, they have their choice.
Yeah. Well, and you say it's not rocket science, but
It's not, it's just,
all over.
but you know, those numbers wouldn't be so high if more of
Exactly.
us would do these things. So
All right.
there you
thanks.
go.
Great job.